Snowing again. It's awesome because I'm glad because it all melted yesterday, and the chickens got to go out and they got to get out in the yard, and I wasn't going to have any more of that, so I prayed it would snow some more. So hopefully you've made it home from work. Maybe you're not watching this till later. I thought about doing this live, but then I thought about doing this live and decided it's probably not best I did this discussion live. I may neither confirm nor deny that there will be editing in this video. So, if you didn't get to watch it live, you've most certainly heard about it by now. We are now under a national state of emergency. YouTube land is abuzz, to say the least. I mean, it's really been entertaining. Some of these guys, doesn't take much to get them wound. And of course, we didn't have enough to worry about. Now we got this. So I thought I'd get on here too. I thought I'd throw Nana's 2 cents in there because, you need to know what is happening. And you need to know the real story of what's happening. Not the doom and gloom and not the build the wall. You need to just know the facts so you can intelligently utilize your internet resources to learn more about the facts so you can then apply those facts to forming an educated opinion. So, I mean, there's no sense in getting wound up about Trump. Okay? Because that dog don't hunt. We are beating a dead horse. Let's use all the euphemisms that we can. I mean, come on. It's not like he turned this way the moment he took his oath. He was this way during his campaign. He's been this way for the last 20 or 25 years when he's really become politically active. He was way so politically active prior to this. Knew what he was. We all knew what he was. I didn't vote for him. I'm just going to come out and say it. I do vote. Rarely find, since they only allow me to ride on one wing or the other, I rarely vote for either wing on that bird. Because I think that bird needs to be shot out of the air, but this is why I won't go live. Anyway. He is what he is. He's been this way forever. Nobody needs to be shocked about what he does and what he says, because that's who the guy is. He's a billionaire. These are the people that run your country. They have ran your country forever. It just now isn't being so hidden from you. Okay. Now, today he declared a national emergency so he can build his wall. So what did he do exactly? Well, he did what many, many other presidents have done in the past. And many of those presidents did them in order to gain some weight behind a project that nobody would stand behind, like Trump's doing right now. So what he's doing is not unheard of, and I mean, he's pulling his weight. He's the Prez. Fact is, he's the Prez, and the Prez is going up. We're going to do it my way, or the highway. And really, okay, so the national, I don't want you to get online and look up what is a national emergency. You can do that, but what I really want you to look up is the National Emergencies Act. And if it wasn't for this act, it could be a lot worse. I mean, this act kind of reined us in a little bit. It still might surprise you, but previous to this, they kind of could really do whatever they wanted. So the National Emergencies Act was put into law through the Ford administration back in September of 1976. And I'm just going to read to you. Now this is Wikipedia. I understand. I'm college educated too. We were not allowed to use Wikipedia as a resource. I know it's editable. But sorry, I use Wikipedia as a resource. Anyway. Okay, so the act empowers the president to activate special powers during a crisis, but it imposes certain procedural formalities when invoking such powers. The perceived need for the law arose from the scope and number of laws granting special powers to executives in times of national emergency. I mean, look up what Woodrow Wilson did. He actually used it for an okay thing, but Roosevelt, on the other hand, and even Abraham Lincoln, look all these up. Those guys declared national emergency and played the field, which is why this act is in effect. Okay, so Congress can undo a state of emergency declaration, but with either a joint resolution and the president's signature, so it has to have both, or with a veto-proof majority vote. Okay, so there's their fail-safe. Was signed into effect under Gerald Ford, which I already mentioned. Oh, and here's the other thing. Okay, so since this act was signed in September of 1976, there have been 59 national emergencies declared, of which 31 continuously remain effective. So you didn't even know you were already under a national emergency. Because, see, the International Emergency Economics Powers Act that was enacted a year later said, hey, year's up, national emergency still going. How about we review that national emergency and see if we want to continue it? And then annually we're going to review this so that nobody gets crazy. So, since September 1976, along any given timeline to today, the United States has been under 31 different states of national emergencies. Of the 59 that have been declared as of today, it's been 59. 31 of those 59 have been going on possibly one of my viewers' entire lifetime. So now you know what it is. Now I'm going to tell you what it could mean, okay? First, though, I came across this website not long ago, and you know, I talked about in one of my videos how, you know, I try to use substantive resources. You know, I'm not going to read The Onion and get my news from The Onion. You know, even the news sites, you got to research who they are and what they're about, because some of them are pretty damn biased. But I came across this website called Media Bias / Fact Check. And what it does is you can put in your magazine or your news resource, and it will tell you, hey, they kind of lean a little left. They're kind of righties. You know, what's their factual reporting? Is it high? Is it medium? Is it low? You know, their World Press Freedom rank. If I am reading something that sparks my interest and I want to know, hey, you know, I don't recognize who these guys are, I throw it in on this site and it says, okay, you know, read what these guys got to say or pass it up. So, Media Bias Fact Check. If you just put that in your web browser, Media Bias Fact Check, all one word, It'll come up for you. You can click on it, check it out. Okay, so my resource I chose today is The Atlantic. And I chose them because of the ones I researched. They, although just a snitch to the left, were the closest to being unbiased, and they had a very high fact reporting ranking. Okay, so they did an article, actually, and I'm trying to get to it. It was recent, but I don't think it was today. Okay, well, it was in their January, February 2019 issue. So let's say it was probably put out the end of December, January. And it talks about the president declaring a national emergency, which, you know, he's kind of been, like I said, he doesn't hide what he's doing, okay? The news reports on it wonky, but he's kind of been saying, hey, y'all, this is a national emergency. And nobody listens to what the man is saying, because we need to listen to what he's saying because he is serious. Okay. In big bold letters, the article starts with, the moment the president declares national emergency, a decision that is entirely within his discretion, as I stated, he is able to set aside many of the legal limits on his authority. Okay, so, now I'm not saying that he's going to do this, but you need to know what being under a national emergency allows a president to do. Now, whether he does it, nobody's going to know. I mean, we're not going to know till we kind of watch this thing play out. But the fact of the matter is, he would not be breaking the law in doing these things. We would not be able to sue him civilly. We would have no recourse. He could not be impeached. He would be within his legal parameters under the provisions of this law. Okay? Okay, so let me just get you to the juice. Okay, so unknown to most Americans, a parallel legal regime allows the president to sidestep many of the constraints that would normally apply to him. The moment he declares a national emergency, more than 100 special provisions become available to him. Okay? Now, most of these provisions we would expect to be in effect. You know, if we were at war and we had declared a national emergency, one of the provisions is to kill and or retain indefinitely prisoners of war. Okay. I mean, you know, yeah. I would expect that. You know, so most of that 100, you're probably not going to have a problem with. However, some of that 100 get dangerously close to our, I guess, civil liberties. You know, they just become dangerously suited in a direction of a dictatorship. Okay, and let me read what they wrote. For instance, the president can, with a flick of his pen, activate laws allowing him to shut down many kinds of electronic communications inside the United States, or freeze American bank systems and accounts. Other powers are available even without a declaration of emergency, including laws that allow the president to deploy troops inside the country to subdue domestic unrest. You know, if people were out there domestically being unrested, you know, I'm good with them coming in and dragging them yahoos out of my town. So I'm not going to argue with that one. But you start freezing my comms and you know, I already talked to you about how you shouldn't be having all your money in the bank to begin with. You know, now we're playing close to home. I mean, these are within his power. He will not be illegally doing anything as of right now. As you see this video, he could do these things and not be doing anything illegal. All right, let's see what else they have to say. You know, the point of this is that during a time of crisis, the government's laws may be very lacking, so this allows the government to come in and change the laws, which, you know, a rational person thinking that these people are rational, the ones holding the switch are rational too, would think, okay, I'm all for, you know, organizing. But we all know that he ain't rational. I mean, you know, he's rational. I guess rationality is relevant. Whatever. Let's see. Okay, unlike the modern constitutions of many other countries besides us, which specify or specific in how the state of emergency may be declared, and which rights may and may not be suspended. So other countries have a very clear guideline on what constitutes national emergency, and then they have a very clear guideline on what the president can do. You know, our government, that's one of their favorite things. You know, let's leave that berth as wide as we can, you know. They do it with everything. The U.S. Constitution itself includes no comprehensive separate regime for emergencies. Those few powers it does contain for dealing with certain urgent threats, it assigns to Congress, not the president. For instance, it lets Congress suspend the writ of habeas corpus, which means it allows the government officials to imprison people without judicial review. When the cases of rebellion or invasion, the public safety may require it. That's what its intentions. You know, and for calling forth the militia to execute the laws of the Union, suppress the insurrections and rebel invasions. It's what the men wrote. That doesn't matter, because the Constitution gives the president inherent emergency powers by making him commander-in-chief of the armed forces, or by vesting in him a broad and undefined executive power. That's what, you've heard that word before, because that's like one of the people's favorite things, our Trump's executive power. Well, that's what executive power means, people. The dude can pretty much do whatever he wants. And I don't know why everyone is shocked about this. Anyway, so, you know, Roosevelt and Bush, you know, the whole wiretapping thing. Roosevelt, his was, he was like forcing people to do business with the steel industry. I don't know. You'll have to look it up. Roosevelt, look up George W. Bush, look up Abraham Lincoln. But hey, in Lincoln's defense, he publicly conceded that his unilateral suspension of habeas corpus during the Civil War was constitutionally questionable. And these actions, like Lincoln, Roosevelt, were why Ford did what he did. Okay, so Truman, look up Harry Truman. Look at his national emergency gameplay. And what was it else I read somewhere that was it Woodrow Wilson's national emergency that he did, I think, in 1917? Because of them renewing it every year, it funded Vietnam. So the precedent, I saw one of our local news people talk about, well, this is just setting a precedent. The precedent was set, baby. They've been using national emergencies to fund projects that they can't get support for years. It's what they do. It's a card they can play because they're the Prez. Quit freaking out about it. Oh, well, and don't forget, I mentioned about the communication. Well, that means internet. Yes, he can shut our internet down. He can shut your phone off. He can shut the landline off if you're one of those that still got a landline. Mom and Dad still have a landline. And if your money, which I've said already, so I'll repeat it anyway, if your money's wound up in the bank on somebody's computer, you can't even burn it to keep yourself warm. Whatever. The president could seize control of U.S. internet traffic, impeding access to certain websites and ensuring that the internet searches return pro-Trump content as the top result. Because that's never happened before. This is why you look around. You don't look something up and then read the first thing that pops on your screen. Come on. I think that's the gist of it. I think I'm going to quit rambling and decide whether I'm going to edit this video. But what I want you to do, and what I'm hoping you will do, is go to, I forgot what it was already, MediaBiasFactCheck.com. Okay, I want you to keep that tab open. Then open up another tab and do some research. Don't assume the sky is falling. Is the sky falling? At any given day, our sky could fall. Trump doing what he did today doesn't change anything. Are we closer to some kind of an SHTF situation, be it financial collapse, civil unrest, that direction? Yeah, but were we not pretty damn close yesterday? I kind of think we were. I don't see what he did today as maybe a step further. I don't think it was a giant step. Do your research. He's not really doing anything that's uncommon. That's out of the realm of what presidents do. Now, how it ends, that's the story that has to be written. The story isn't the fact of what he did. The story's going to be in how it ends. And the fact of the matter is, and I want you to get on and research, I want you to research your resource. It could end bad. It could, you need to be kind of, if you haven't been thinking already that maybe you need to get your shit together, you probably need to be thinking about it. Think about your money and think about all those things. So, anyway, this was kind of impromptu. I'm not going to stay on here a long time. We'll go live later on. And do your research. Be smart about it. Research your resources so that you know the information you're getting is as unbiased and factual as possible. Nana Prep out.